What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm gonna talk about how to develop core values and use them as a management and leadership tool. What's up, everybody? I'm Claudio, owner of WinRate Consulting and host of the Big Stud podcast. If you have not gone over to check that out, please do, and please subscribe to the channel. I know for a fact 87% of you are not subscribed to the channel. We're getting about 40,000 views a month right now. That means there's like 38,000 of you who have not subscribed to the channel. So, all right, cool. But today I want to talk about core values and how to utilize them as a leadership and management tool. And I want to highlight leadership and management tool. I think a lot of people, let's say baseline, most companies don't have core values organized or written. Second, many of them who do just have them on the wall. They developed them years ago and they just sit there on the wall and there's no real implementation of them. And then third type of company has them written and uses them on a daily basis. That's the way they should be utilized. So real quick, there's two key concepts I think that need to happen to develop them. First, I like using acronyms because I think it makes it easier to talk about the core values. Do you have to make an acronym? No. But an acronym is when the first letter of each sentence creates a word. Just want to put that out there in case you didn't know. I always get, I always try to say, when I try to say acronym, I always say analogy, and that's not right, but acronym. And so for WinRate, it's COACH. It's C-O-A-C-H. Communicate proactively, operate with the help first mentality, appreciate everybody's time, continue to evolve, and have a championship mindset. Those are our 5 core values. And I use those for WinRate. I use them for a champion shoes. I use them in our family. I talk about them all the time. And so once they're developed, the next key step, in my opinion, is to create bullet points for each one of them that are related to the mindset, activity, or behaviors that you want to see to represent that core value. Real quick, I'm going to look them up. I didn't think to do this ahead of time, but I'm going to look them up because I want you to see what the bullet points are for mine so you can see how they can relate to you. So communicate proactively. The bullet points for that one are set proper expectations, plan ahead so problems can be solved proactively, communicate when expectations change, and communicate by taking ownership and accountability of one's own tasks. So those are the behaviors, mindsets, or activities that I think represent, in my opinion, and how I want communicate proactively represented. The second one is operate with a help first mentality. The bullet points of that one are uncover and solve problems as a top priority. We have a no sales approach. We look for opportunities to add value, and we give without expectations. So an example, right? When one of my employees comes to me and is like, man, I did this, this, and this for this person, and they haven't done anything for me. Boom, I can immediately use it as a tool to say, hey man, that's one of the bullet points in operate with help first mentality. We give without expectations. Let's adjust our mindset on that, and that allows me to use it as a tool to help train and learn them. If you just have it set up in a way that doesn't have those individual bullet points, you leave the core value up for interpretation. And we do that, that employee has to take their experience and try to make it match your experience, which is impossible. And really what a core value list should be for you is allow your employees to make decisions based on how you would want them managed to and or related to, measured to. And so in your mind, you have the decision tree of why you do what you do because of the experience you've had, the things you've done, the things you've messed up, all that stuff, right? Well, your employees don't have that perspective. And so giving them those core values allow them to go to a why in the road when there's an option A or option B. Both appear okay, not bad decisions, but which one is the right decision should be related to the core value. So things like interview process. When I look at my interview process, a lot of my first round, my round 1 interview questions are related to situations, experiences, and how-tos somebody would match my values. So I'll ask questions like, how would you handle this? Or tell me about a time this, to see how they would communicate proactively or appreciate people's time. Or a simple question for continue to evolve. What is your approach to personal and professional development? That's one of the questions in my interview. Not because I want to know how they read books or what they do, but I want to make sure they have a continually evolving mindset, because if you don't have a continually evolving mindset and you're not into personal and professional development, you're not going to like working for Mike Claudio. Okay, you're just not. It's not going to work out here. The team's not going to gel if you're not interested in evolving along with us. So it's important that interview questions and how you analyze candidates is related to the core values. So that's how you use it as a tool. When you're looking at reprimanding somebody, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm going to tell you what core value you're not representing, because this does 2 things. First, It allows them to have an objective review of their activity. When it's objective, it allows you to take the emotion out of it. When it's, I think you're doing poorly, it's you versus me. It creates an emotional transaction. When it's you versus the standard, employee, you're not reading the standard, it's an objective standard that they agreed to. Obviously, it's important to have core values as part of your onboarding process and your training process. They should commit to those core values as part of that. But ultimately, you're not living up to an objective standard. It's not my opinion versus yours. It's your activity versus the standard that we expect from you. And second, the core values being written and utilized as a tool allows peers to hold themselves accountable. When you hold the team to a higher standard, the team ends up holding themselves to a higher standard. And then it's not any one of their opinions versus another's, it's their combined and mutual understanding of the standard, and we're gonna hold each other to that standard because that's what we do as a team that has a championship mindset and wants to do what others won't. So we're gonna hold each other accountable to that standard. Even on my team, if I have one of my coaches that does something that doesn't line up to the standard, I expect one of my other coaches to hold that person accountable. It shouldn't always be me, has to come down on that person. It should be one of his peers saying, hey, you said something this way, or you did this way, or you were late to this meeting, or you weren't prepared. That doesn't represent the core values we're all holding ourselves to. So it creates that team approach to holding people accountable. How to develop them, which is the final kind of piece of this, you want to make sure that they're attributes and things that represent you. First off, you're likely the first time you do this, it's not going to be the final one. I rebuilt mine about 18 months into the business because I didn't think I had some good ones, but they were somewhat generic. I don't think they represented me specifically. As the leader, as the owner, you have to uphold and represent the core values at all times. If you regularly show up late to meetings, you can't have timeliness as one of your fucking core values because you'll be out of integrity with them and people won't take you seriously. So it's very important the core values and you mesh. You should live up to and represent those core values at all times. And ultimately, when you're developing them, you should elicit and bring in the opinion of those around you. So when you say, hey, I'm trying to develop my core values right now. Can you look at this list of attributes or this list of words, and you just go to Google, say list of core values, print it off, hand it out. Can you circle the 5 or 10 core values you think I represent? Give that to some employees, some people in your personal life to develop the list. And then I like wordsmithing those words back to an acronym. Because now I can say to my team, hey guys, let's go out, let's execute our mission by living up to the coach approach. That's what I say. It's kind of corny, but it works. When I say coach approach, I don't have to say every core value because my team immediately understands what I mean. It's a word that signifies an entire process of how we do things. So acronyms, I think, can be super powerful. Makes it easier to talk about them as a whole, as opposed to like having to say 5 words or 5 quick sentences or statements every time you want to talk about the core values using the acronym. So take the words, take the attributes, the core value list that people bring back to you, bring it together, write out a list, put some bullet points to it, make sure the team agrees that it represents you, and then get to work utilizing it. Use it in your interview process, use it in your performance improvement and disciplinary action, use it on a daily basis to bring the whole team up so that they can start holding each other accountable so that you can win fast and win often.